Great. Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's LinkedIn Live. I have Nicole and Nas with me from Braindate, E180. I want to thank everybody for being here with us today. And if you're listening to this after the event, I'm sure you're going to find it very interesting. For those of you who are listening live, feel free to put any comments or questions into the chat, and we'll get to them towards the end. Okay. I'm Samantha Bateman, Director of Talent Acquisition with Integria Consulting. Welcome you here today. I'm accompanied with Nicole Jaffon from Braindate by E180, Account Manager, and of course, Nassim Bagheri, also an Account Manager with Braindate by E180. So thank you both for being here today. I really appreciate it, and welcome. So I'm really curious because, of course, I know Braindate from being at C2, I think in 2019. It was the first time I had ever experienced anything like this before. And I thought it was very, very cool. So can you talk to the audience about what is Braindate and how did it even come about?
Of course, yeah. And thank you so much for having us, Sam. I'm very excited. A little bit about Braindate. So a Braindate itself is a topic-driven intentional conversation. They're user-generated, so it's attendees at an event or different community members, organizations, employees, anyone who has access to the activation. It's the actual users who are posting topics that they care about and then creating a means for other participants to join these different conversations over these shared topics of interest. So there's always that intentional aspect with Braindates for people to really meet each other and really get the most out of their conversations. And we've been incorporating Braindate into events globally since 2011. So 14 years now on a global scale, anywhere from a couple hundred attendees all the way to 40,000 plus, virtually and in person. All of these kind of different events and communities have common goals that they want people to connect meaningfully. And that's really the benefit that Braindate brings. So we'll definitely share more today, how exactly we do that. We actually, fun fact, we started off at coffee shops too, as a way to bring people together in public spaces. And we've really transcended to a lot of different, really huge and great events. So yeah.
That's fantastic. And I think what a lot of people might not know, and as a proud Montrealer, this is a Montreal-based company, right? So Montreal owned and launched a number of years ago. So you guys have had a lot of practice in this realm. Nas, I'm curious, what does the participant experience look like from point of signing up to showing up? Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, sure. So usually at any events, we open the platform a few weeks before, usually around 2 weeks before. So the participants have the time to already come, create their topics, send each other an invitation, and then they can do it at the event as well. The goal is that it's very intentional, so that the participants choose exactly what they want to discuss, who they want to meet. And the way the platform works is that it matches the right participants together based on topics that they want to discuss. So when they arrive on the platform, they arrive on what we call the topic market page. And there they will be able to see a bunch of topics created by other participants. This is where it's fun, is that all the topics and all the conversations are all created by other participants at the event. And they can add their own. So for one-on-one or small group conversations around something they want to learn, something they want to know more of, something some knowledge they have that can benefit someone else. So basically here they create their own content and it's a way to engineer serendipity and have a way for them to match with the right people. So once it's on the platform, the topic, they will receive invitations if it's a one-on-one, or people will be able to join their group if it's a group. They would be able to join someone else's group at a specific time and manage really their calendar based on that. So that's before the event.
Right.
And during the event, the same thing happens, but there will be the help of what we call the learning concierges. So people from our team that you already met at C2, that basically help participants find a relevant topic, create a relevant topic, so help them in their learning journey. So yeah, there's really this support and guidance as well the day of the event.
Okay. So it's interesting because I remember just my experience when I had gone to C2 and I tried out Braindate for the first time. There was a wide range of topics, some very technical, some was around leadership. And the one that I walked away thinking, oh my God, this is very fascinating, was that we were engaged in a search, or we were asked to be engaged in a search that had to do with the cannabis industry. It wasn't something that I was familiar with at all. For whatever reason, there were a number of people, both from the government here, and also there were people from the States who had already set up like kind of, the cannabis shops and that kind of thing. I never would have had any ability to interact with these people. Like I can guarantee that. And I was able to do it at C2 during a Braindate. So it was a group of us, it was 5 of us, and it was just educational. And I was just asking questions like, talk to me about the laws, talk to me about, what your thoughts are around communication, around, people's, whatever, their perception of this. And so just that experience was really so original that you get to have access to people that you normally wouldn't have on something that is going to be important to you. So I thought that was very, very cool. Actually, so Nicole, speaking on that, why do you think peer-to-peer learning is so powerful, especially across roles or industries?
Yeah, that's an amazing question, Sam. And exactly like you mentioned, peer learning is so powerful because everyone has so much knowledge to share, different experiences, different viewpoints, different problems, different solutions. So learning from each other rather than always listening to a speaker is really the value that you get from that real human interaction and real conversations. And between different roles, different industries, the cross-pollination of ideas only makes the conversation even better. So having shared different lived experiences and seeing different problems, you're able to actually have different viewpoints and really look at things from a different angle that you might have never thought of before. It's a fact too that adults retain only 20% of information they learn from like keynotes and presentations, but that number actually shoots up to 90% when they're actually involved in peer learning conversations and putting that knowledge into actual action. So there's definitely a lot of value learning from each other rather than always just sitting and listening to content, for sure.
That's fascinating. 90%. Okay. So NAS, what are some examples of organizations that are using Braindate to support knowledge sharing and leadership development? Can you tell us some stories?
Yeah, sure. Well, the great thing with Braindate as you can see is that it adapts to the audience as the audience and the participants create the content. So we've been able to partner with clients in very different industries, from tech like Amazon, Tableau, Airbnb, or in the medical association, legal, construction. So in very broad different industries, because in each of them there are people who are there to learn. There are people who are there to share their experiences. So yeah, it's a great way to adapt, and also in different kind of events, customer events, internal events, B2B. So it's a great way to, no matter what the participants are here for, if it's to do business or if it's to learn or if it's to make connections, Braindate is a great way to do that. So by the way it works, in the way the participants themselves will create content, will be very intentional, will match with each other. Yeah, that's always a great way to do so.
So actually on that, when you're looking at having, let's say, an organization that wants to have kind of an internal event with their employees, is there a minimum that you recommend in those situations, or probably not a maximum because it becomes more fun, but have you like, is it 50 plus within an organization, or is that too small?
I'd say it really depends on the context. Usually for on-site events, like for example, let's say a customer event where there's a lot of other activities planned and participants have to choose, etc. We usually recommend Braindate after 200, 250 participants.
Okay.
Because it's, again, what we see often is that when participants do a Braindate, they tend to do more, but it's hard to bring them to the first one when there are other activities planned, etc. But when it's an activation where Braindate is the only possibility to connect, and Braindate is maybe the only activity, etc., yeah, maybe 30, 40, 50 people can work. Yeah.
It's funny because there's a great book out there called Uncopyable, and it's written. It's an easy read, and the consultant who had written it talks about how he at one point brought construction workers to an American Girl doll store, and why they were like, "What are we doing here? Like big burly men who are like, we're in construction. Why are you bringing us to a doll store?" And he talked about how to get out of your bubble and do something different. Everybody's already seen the same thing when it comes to the same industry. You need to look at different industries, and you need to get feedback from people who are doing it right, but in a completely different space. And it changed how they rolled out this conference that they were putting on, and how the walkthrough of the kind of construction site that they had built out was vastly different, and it completely stood out. And it makes me think a lot about Braindates, because when you kind of pop out of your bubble and you're talking to people that are in a different profession, a different industry, that are coming from different backgrounds, that's when you start becoming creative, and that's where you can get different perspectives versus being very insular, right? But I'm curious also about psychological safety. So Nicole, maybe you can take this question. What role does psychological safety play in these kinds of open, peer-led conversations?
I'd say it's essential. Like, psychological safety is really the foundation of peer learning. When people feel safe to share their knowledge, ask questions, and also not to have all the answers. With Braindates too, you never have to be an expert to post a topic or join a conversation. That peer learning is just really open, people coming together to learn from each other. That's when the real learning and growth really happens. So that's exactly how Braindate is designed, to support exactly that. So every conversation is, again, opt-in. So you as a participant are able to choose exactly what topics you want to join. Then you meet this person, if it's one-on-one or a group, to have these conversations. So you really choose the topics that resonate with you. And we've actually been called like the introvert's dream, because an introvert will never, like, they're at a multi-thousand person conference, they'll never tap someone on the shoulder to start a conversation, but you give them a tool where they can post something specific or browse through something specific that they really love to talk about. They join that conversation, and they always have an amazing experience. So it really is designed to be as safe, as welcoming as possible. That's a big part of, apart from our technology, of course, our platform that helps enable that, our team and our in-person or virtual experience. A team of learning concierges. We always have a dedicated experience producer who works with all of our clients. They're the support, either on site or virtually, to really create a warm and welcoming space for people to engage in Braindate conversations, helping support where needed, helping, as Nas mentioned too, a big part of the on-site experience is when attendees are coming to the Braindate area, even if they've never heard about Braindate or have posted a topic, we're engaging attendees, letting them know what Braindate is, how they can access it, how they can join a topic, showing them what's available. So we're really creating that warm and welcoming space, really opening it up for people to connect.
I love that. Nas, let me ask you, how does Braindate enable companies to start building a culture of intentional and social learning?
That's basically mostly based on our new approach. So yeah, as Nicole mentioned, we started in coffee shops. It was really a social network for people to connect in coffee, etc. But as we didn't have like we had a lot of no-shows, and we realized that events were the perfect context for Braindate. So the past 10 years and more, we've been a lot at in the event context, but with virtual and the virtual platform with the same concept and video conversations happening on the platform, we've been able to create a new approach for communities and to come back to where we started, basically, and really create something for communities to be able to connect more regularly through the year. And that works really well, internally for companies to really create a culture to be able to see what the employees are talking about, really put them as the principal characters and make them really intentional into what they want to learn, make them talk to people they usually don't talk with on an everyday basis because they're part of other teams or other projects. But sometimes you're in a company and you don't know that this person in this department is expert about something you wanted to learn about, or they did a trip that you are interested to do as well. So it's a great way to really put yourself out there, tell others what you want to discuss, see what others want to discuss, and have great conversations based on that. So that's a great way to have meaningful, really meaningful conversations, and that's that helps a lot with culture.
Mm-hmm. I think on your Braindate platform as well, when people are signing up, they can see the LinkedIn profiles, right? Like if it's set up with that, you can see kind of the background of the individual. Also, I'm thinking about, organizations that are paying a lot of money for memberships to Chambre de Commerce de Montréal, or like different organizations, and but the thing is, you go to those, and I keep hearing this from people who say, like, I'm part of the OIQ, or I'm part of the Order of HR Professionals, and some of the events are so big, and they're like looking for a friendly face, but unless they're there to hear a speaker, they often feel like I didn't necessarily get what I wanted out of it. And I feel like these types of events add so much value, because otherwise you're just kind of walking aimlessly trying to see, who do I know here, versus, okay, what is it that I want to learn today, or what is it that I want to get some support on or exchange on. So I think it's a phenomenal platform, but I think it, to your point earlier, Nicole, too, like it really takes the pressure off of people who are like, I'm here, but I really don't know anybody, and I don't want to be here because I'm not getting what I thought I was going to get out of this event.
Sometimes people go on even just one Braindate and they say that that's the highlight of their whole experience, because that was one specific conversation. Maybe they were able to find like a potential partnership or solve a specific problem, and that's really what Braindate enables at events and communities, again, globally. So
yeah, absolutely. So how is it complementing more traditional learning programs or training with organizations, Nicole?
Yeah, traditional trainings, they're great and absolutely necessary for delivering that structured knowledge. But Braindate really helps bring that learning to life. So that's the best I think I could describe it. It gives people like a space for people to have a conversation after they learn something, to really dive deep, peer learning, like process what happened in that knowledge sharing presentation that they had, and actually talk to other people about it. Maybe someone is hoping to explore how that specific content would apply to their own work, share different challenges, share different ideas that they've learned from that conversation or presentation. So like, for example, after a workshop or after like a keynote, attendees can go on a Braindate conversation to debrief something that happened and explore some of the same ideas that they're maybe trying to implement in their own organizations. So I think that's where learning really sticks, like in conversation, not just in content. So content is, of course, needed. And then after the content, when people are getting that knowledge, how can they talk about it to implement different strategies after that?
That's such a great point. I remember, so there's global fuck up nights. There was fuck up nights Montreal, and it started in Mexico, and it's such a great experience going to these events because you're hearing from leaders in terms of how they messed up in their business or a decision that really cost them. But I remember feeling when I was going to these events in the past that your brain is buzzing after. So you hear these speakers get up and talk about things that really resonate with you, and you want to talk to other people, but instead, I don't know, it could have changed in the last couple of years, but I remember thinking, oh my God, I would have loved to have exchanged with other people. So eventually a few of us would go for dinner after to be able to get that exchange. But to your point, going to an event and hearing a speaker and then just leaving, it's like you want to be able to exchange on it while it's still fresh and while you have all these feelings around this topic, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You can engage with the people who are listening to the presentation through a Braindate, or sometimes our clients often have like a speaker who does a talk and then hosts like a Q&A or debrief at the actual Braindate lounge. And that's another way to bring a speaker into a Braindate conversation for people to ask questions and continue on just after they talk. So, exactly.
Okay. And so the Braindates, from what I understand, is it's one-on-one or ideally groups of 5, right? So it's not like groups of 20. It's like shorter and 45 minutes, smaller, more intimate groups, and about 45 minutes of exchange.
Exactly. Small groups, keeping them between 5 to 8 people is the sweet spot to really make sure that everyone has a chance to speak, share their knowledge, ask questions, learn from each other in a conversation. Keeping them smaller really allows everyone to actually get involved. You can imagine when the group gets too big, it's a different dynamic in the group. Sometimes not everyone is involved in the conversation. It kind of trickles off into smaller conversations. But keeping it a small group, we've really seen from implementing Braindate for 14 years now, that's the best size for actual valuable inputs to be shared and then actually resonate to something after the conversation too. We've also seen many people go on Braindates at events or within communities, and then they build friendships, partnerships that last a lifetime that extend after that Braindate too. So that's really important.
Business opportunities too, I'm sure. I'm actually wondering about, large multinationals that maybe bring their people together and where they're learning from different groups, but from different countries too, because the way things are operating in one country might be completely different in another. And I think there's that value also in understanding culturally, okay, this is what we're working on, but this is how you're running this project, or this is how you're interacting with these clients. Are you seeing a lot of that with some of your more global clients where they bring their people together from different countries, and that there's kind of that learning going on as well?
Absolutely. And it's especially important. People are traveling all across the world to attend a specific event. They want to not just sit and listen. They want to know what other people are doing everywhere. So we definitely see global interactions for sure from a variety of different countries and companies and roles. So there's definitely that cross-pollination between those for sure.
So, which makes me think about comments that I've heard from leaders before where they've had company events and where they'll say, I don't know, certain people that were there didn't take the opportunity to really interact and go up to other leaders and exchange, and they were kind of off on their own. But not everybody's comfortable just going up and introducing themselves. And so I really think that this is such a great platform to get people talking, but really in a meaningful way, and to kind of, bring down the barrier of however people are feeling around introducing themselves. So yeah, I can definitely see the benefit. In terms of feedback from first-time Braindate participants, Nas, do you want to take this question? What kind of feedback do you hear from first-time participants?
Yeah, well, that's actually the best because it's harder to measure in terms of data the quality of the connections you make. A lot of other platforms are measuring, we made this number of connections, this number of people that use the platform, log in, external. But the best part and the best thing we can get from the events are testimonials that we get from the participants, and it's always great ones. And I have one from C2 that we just had right now that I think is really great. It says, love the concept and love the experience, such an effective and thoughtful way to connect a network. You know you're onto something when you start the Braindate with a handshake and then you finish it with a hug.
Oh, I love that. And that's very Montreal too.
Exactly. But that depends a lot. What we're trying to do, and it's not a platform that just connects people that exchange business cards and then have a conversation about their product, what they do in life, their role, etc. But it's more you connect people who want to talk about the same thing, and that's usually a great help to make a great connection. They're interested in the same topic. They're there with people who are expert about things that they're interested in. They're able to talk about things that they are expert in. So that helps a lot. First, meet the right people, and that helps a lot make a connection of it. So that's why we hear a lot of great stories. We started a channel internally that's stories of Braindate. So every time we hear something about a great connection, great partnership, business, or even friendship, so that's makes us proud because we see the great connections that we make and that. A life can change based on a conversation. Creating the ones can make a huge difference. And in terms of learnings as well. So we see a lot of comments about the quality of the learnings they have because it's self-directed, because it's experiential, and because people are able to really learn what they want to learn. An event where usually there's content created by the event organizer, they try to create content relatable to as many participants as possible, but it's hard to be granular. So here, by giving them the opportunity to be more intentional, talk more precisely about what they want to talk about, you make the right environment for that. So that's what we see a lot in the comments from participants.
The Braindates that I had been on, I remember one individual had posted he wanted to talk about productivity tools that people were using in case he was kind of missing out on being more productive. He was kind of early in his career and he wanted to kind of leverage technology to be more productive. And I remember there was somebody else that was talking about having launched her tech company. She was trying to get it off the ground and she wanted to talk to leaders in different areas. So there was, talent acquisition. There was like, how do I recruit people for, what I'm trying to build? There was legal. And so she actually created kind of almost like a mini advisory board for like 45 minutes that like, hey, have you done this? Have you thought of this? And I remember she was just taking down all these notes. She's like, this is crazy. She's like, the amount of information that I got, things that I didn't think of, the relationships that she built. And I remember leaving that thinking, wow, like you had this exchange, but you're also learning from other people that were around that table that are touching on different functions than you are. But it was nice to see somebody who was in a startup getting all of this information for free, but it wasn't like, it doesn't feel like you're taking from other people. It's like, hey, this is the situation I'm in. Can we exchange on this? And it was beautiful. It was really nice to see. It was very supportive, Okay, so, and we are we're doing pretty good on time. I'm curious in terms of what advice would you give to participants of Braindates to really maximize their experience, whether they're a first timer or if they've done this before, like what have you seen in terms of best practices? I don't know if you both want to take a crack at this.
Yeah, I can start. I would say first choose a topic that genuinely interests you, because that's the conversation you'll be meeting on, share ideas, learn from one another. So whether you're hosting or joining, you don't have to be an expert, but the shared interest is what creates the conversation and the questions. So you don't have to worry about saying the right thing, but if you're in the right spot with that group, it's always like a nice flowing conversation because everyone chose to be there intentionally for the conversation. So definitely choose a topic that resonates with you, whether you're hosting or joining. And then also I would say come with curiosity. Again, there's no pressure and you don't need to be an expert. You just need to be open to sharing your experiences, asking questions, and learning from someone else. So those are the two biggest things I'd say. Like brain dates are not really interviews or anything like that or sales pitches. They're conversations between equals and the ability to peer learn from one another and really extract things that you can then take back to your organization to implement.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's like in French we say le syndrome de la page blanche. So the syndrome of the white page is always hard to start, and that's what we see in the data a lot. That people who brain dates do multiple brain dates. So when they do a brain date, they do more. But yeah, they're always very scared at the beginning to put themselves out there, to create topics, to join topics, to have conversations with strangers, etc. And then they get out of it and they're very happy with the conversation they had, and they do more, etc. So yeah, my advice would be just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like the fact that when you go into these things, typically you can, have a couple of hours. Like actually it was the highlight for me for C2 because I'm not a tech recruiter, but I think I got sucked into 3 hours of brain dates and it felt amazing. But I like the one-on-one and then the group brain dates too. So I like the fact that you offer a mix. And I understand that you guys have gatherings now, right? This is something new. So Nicole, actually, do you want to talk a little bit about that and how that looks maybe a little bit differently? Because we're going to be doing that with you, right?
Yeah, for sure. So gatherings, and Nas can touch on this too. We launched it officially last month, which is really exciting. It's a way for communities to engage on a year-round basis outside of, traditional like bigger events. So it could be like every few months, quarterly, whenever you'd like to engage your community in topic-driven conversations. It's a key moment in time where people are going to be coming together, either virtually or in person too. So there's 2 different formats, but it's really similar to the events in that it's a key moment in time where people are coming together to have valuable conversations for a couple hours on one specific day. So it doesn't have to be anything like a crazy, like a big event. It's just kind of a small gathering for your community. Nas, do you want to touch on it a little bit more?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's always it's always great and useful to connect also outside of events, not only Derek, especially now that topics are evolving so quickly. It's always good to have this continuous learning, continuous connections, etc. So it's a way also for people who are not able to go at specific events. So it's a way really to have this self-directed and intentional learning through the year and not only at events.
That's perfect. Well, listen, it doesn't look like we have any questions or comments. This was great. We've got, 15 minutes or 12 minutes to spare. So thank you for your time today. It was concise. It was clear. It was, interesting. And I know we're having our event with you guys that's been pushed to September. Can't wait. Really looking forward to it. And thank you for, being so supportive and coming on here today and talking about brain dates. Because I think that organizations really, especially ones that are looking for something different, like how are we going to do, learning and development and training in a different way so that people can get more out of it. And I think this is just a phenomenal way to do that, whether it's internally or externally. So I really love the platform and congratulations on the work that you guys are doing. Thanks for being here today with us.
Of course. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah,
thank you. And thanks everybody for listening. And you can always reach out to Nas or Nicole if you have any questions on getting your organization signed up for brain dates. We might have one comment before we leave. Good. Eva said, thank you. Great service and can't wait to use it. Great.
Yes.
Enjoy. So thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day and take care. And we'll see you at the next LinkedIn Live.
Thank you.
Bye.